officially home. I literally never thought I would see the day, but I'm finally home. I have not been home for 6 months, since like the end of October. Since the end of October, I did come home for like 1 week in between October and November. Then I went back to Florida, and then I went to Latvia, and then for 3 months, yeah, I've been gone since forever, I feel like. So I'm finally home. I'm so excited to be home. It's bittersweet all the time, but we are doing a Depop Talk today where we are going to do a little catching up, talk about some stuff about Depop, talk about some things I've been thinking about. I don't ever want this to be a podcast because it's really just us chit-chatting away and trying on clothes together, but I am going to, we'll get into all this. Let's put on our first little fit. Let's start off with a fun little dress number. I have not done any dresses since I've been home. So let's do this. I've literally just been taking Depop photos for the last 3 days since I've gotten home. This is so cute. Like if you were a corporate girly, this is what I would be going for. But I'm just gonna put some boots with it. I feel like these are good. I feel like this is what I would wear if I was in the corporate world for sure. But I think this is so cute. So yes, we are back at home. I never thought I'd see the day. I was in Latvia for 3 months, if you guys didn't know. And there are definitely some pluses and minuses when it comes to positives and negatives. Pluses and minuses, I guess same thing. Some negatives and positives about living in Europe and living overseas and just being away for so long. I personally, I do like it. Like it is fun. I'm gonna try to answer some of the questions that I had been getting while I was away, because there's been quite a few. I think we're gonna do a little bit, I'm gonna try to, like, I literally wrote things out. I'm gonna try to plan a little bit better for this podcast. It's not a podcast. I don't want this to be a podcast. This is not what it's supposed to be, because it's just us trying on clothes and talking. We got some coffee. We're gonna have a little chit chat. I want it to be more like a business moment as well, like nothing too personal. Like I want to keep this very light and airy. I think I don't love like an overly personal podcast, to be honest, or like an overly personal, yeah, podcast. But again, this is not a podcast. You can see my big mess on the ground. You can see my mess here, but this is my pile of things that I'm gonna probably eventually get done. But this is the first little dress. I guess let's start off with where I've been, what I've been doing. As I said, as you can see by the vlogs, I've been in Latvia, and how the heck, and this is my 3rd time being in Latvia. Like, who goes to Latvia once in their life? Who goes to Latvia twice in their life? This is my 3rd time somehow ending up in this country, okay? And I literally never knew what Latvia was in the first time. When I actually went overseas to play basketball myself, is the first time that I went to Latvia, which is so funny. And then this year my boyfriend was playing in the same league that I had been playing in once upon a time. So that was kind of interesting. I'm like, hey babe, you're finally as good as me, like congrats. I really thought I would never have gone back to Latvia again, and obviously it's very similar to Lithuania. Like I was living in Lithuania last year, because that's where my boyfriend was as well. My basketball career is done. It's finished. I actually do have a basketball game next week though. Just playing a little rec league. I like to stay in shape. I've been going to the gym a lot, and I was like, now I want to go home and I want to do a little something for myself. So I decided to sign up for a little rec league here, which is so exciting because I haven't played in so long, and I was like, I just want to, you know, I just want to have fun with it, and like I'm doing it with one of my best friends, so that's super fun. So yeah, I ended up in Latvia. Living in Latvia it's different, definitely different, but I feel like I'm so used to it now that it's not anything that's shocking to me after living in Eastern Europe for like 3 years consistently. And we were in the capital city, which is Riga, and it is beautiful. Like if I can get one of you guys to go to Latvia because of my videos, that is a win. Like I do believe that people should go see Riga and go to these countries like once in their life, because they're not like really the typical tourist attraction unless you like have family there and whatnot. But it really is a beautiful place. Just don't go when I went in the dead of winter. But if it's like summertime, it's literally gorgeous there. The thrifting is incredible. Like, they have some of the most insane pieces, and I will do some try-ons, of course, of some of the things that I got in Europe. But everything is just so good. Like, I was in panic mode when I was leaving because I was like, I have to go home and I have to like go to Valley Village again. And truth be told, I got back, it is Wednesday, I got back Thursday last week. I have not even been thrifting since I've been home. I have been inside. Like, I have not left the house. I have not, other than to go to the gym, and I've just been doing Depop photos. I do have so much stock already, but I just like, I'm not excited to go to the Valley Village because everything is so expensive. So I'm like, if I just don't go, then I won't spend any money, and I want to do it with intention when I go to Valley Village now, which we will get into that topic because I actually have that written on my sheet. One of my favorite bags that I've been using for styling. If I have like a few consistent days of taking Depop photos, I'm like, I am not cleaning up the mess because tomorrow is just gonna be a mess again. So I'm like, I'll wait until I'm done and I'm deciding to take a few days off.
The guys, are you like noticing that you're gravitating towards?
I think, you know, it's funny. It's like I like to think I have a type where it's like people that look like my ex-boyfriend. Just
Here for like a headscarf moment, or just like a scarf moment right now, like for the summertime. How iconic is this BB dress? This is so cute, and it's like the perfect length for me. I am unsure if this will make it to Depop because this is literally so cute. It's kind of giving like 70s, but it's BB, and it has like, it says like BB on it, like monogrammed into it. This is adorable. Even with these boots, this is so cute. Ah! As I was saying, I want to make this talk with me, Depop and talk with me, a little bit more structured, and I want to actually have it to be more informative about reselling, and I want it to like talk, you know, weekly with you guys about what I find is selling, what's not selling, what's hot, trends, Depop updates. I don't know if a lot of you guys are aware, but when you're a top seller on Depop, they do have a forum, do give like hints and tips and things like that in there. So like maybe I could start to share some of those things with you guys. I honestly don't really look at it too much. I probably should, but I just kind of read some of the things. Like Depop was having some bugs last week and they did send out an email. They finally rebooted the app, but for so long I thought it was my Wi-Fi that was acting up. I don't know if you guys were like kind of having the same issues, but like people were trying to buy from me. They're like, hey, like I can't change my address, I can't do this, I can't check out. And I was like, that's the worst, because it's like you're gonna miss out on a sale, and it's like, yeah, I want to make this more of an informative. Obviously I'm gonna update you guys with my life, like living in abroad, and I will get back into that. Like some of my favorite things that I'm loving. I want to talk to you guys about certain like even business things that I'm loving, apps that I'm loving for business, product, supplements. I'm a big supplement girl. I don't know even know if you guys know about that, but like I'm so into like health and wellness and like recipes and supplementation and everything, and I've been trying some new things, and I really want to get into that with you guys a little bit more. And then yeah, like what's selling on Depop, and like what is like any Depop updates, or like what is I'm transitioning into, and like make this more actually like Depop and talk. Like yes, we're gonna talk about certain things, like I do have like certain things on here about thrifting and like thrift topics, but I do want to make this like more of like a fashion and Depop strictly, not necessarily like, oh, like my boyfriend did this, or like I can obviously update you guys on certain things like that, or like what's going on in my life, but I do want to make this more of an like informative kind of podcast. But I was really about to take out my like textbooks from university, like my marketing textbooks, and I'm like, let's talk about some marketing things, like or we can talk about certain people. I do have something to talk about that is really good in marketing. So let's talk about what I'm currently selling on Depop. It's like a weird transitional phase right now. It's a weird transitional phase in the fashion industry right now, where everything is kind of, people are still wearing coats, but they're trying to shop for summer things, so it's so difficult to kind of figure out what you're going for. So I'm literally just still listing coats. I'm still selling coats. I sold like 4 coats last night. It is February 20th. Like realistically, we're not wearing coats a month and a half from now, but it's still pretty cold for the most part, so people are still buying coats. However, last week I sold a shit ton of summer things because people are going on vacation. So I feel like right now is the perfect time to just load up on all your stock, like seasonal, non-seasonal, put it on, get it on, the best way to go about. I have been selling a lot of basics, like a lot, I think, going to the bin. Obviously, the last 3 months I had taken so many photos prior to leaving that was the stuff that I had been putting on for the last 3 months, and a lot of it was bin stuff, and a lot of it was a lot of basics, a lot of denim, a lot of basic tank tops, little party shirts, always the best thing to sell. But I've been finding that right now is the time to just, like, you can sell anything. And I have been selling a lot of things that people have been messaging me about in my video, like my beautiful blue suede coat. Did not list it on Depop. Somebody messaged me about it. I sold it yesterday and I was like, you know what, it's okay. I will end up finding more things. I think that's the hardest thing about my job is being addicted to thrifting.
5 or 6 birth control pills at once, and it's hormones, so it's like pumping your body full of hormones.
Next, with the power of 5 serums in one.
One day.
Choose Clear Blue Digital Ultra Early.
Kind of over sneakers right now, but Converse for me are kind of doing okay. Like when I'm putting on a pair of jeans like these incredible like vintage Blue Notes, I'm like, what are we gonna wear shoe wise? And for me right now, these are something that I am absolutely loving. For me right now, these are something that I would go toward because I don't know, right now I can't do like a sneaker. I don't know what it is, but I just like I typically like to start off with pants. I think that the easiest to actually take photos of, I'm not gonna lie, but I also feel like the sunlight is best for the pants in the morning. I'm so excited for in a few weeks, not the morning. I start taking photos around noon usually, and I will go till 3 or 4 in the winter time because the sun obviously sets so much earlier, and then in the summertime I can start taking photos like literally around like 2 o'clock and go till like 7. But I typically do like to start with pants and like jeans and dresses because the sunlight kind of, it's direct sunlight, and I don't love direct sunlight unless we have something like an overcast day like it is today. I actually find the lighting to be really good rather than direct sunlight. It really depends on where you are located. Like if I was shooting at the back of the house and the sun doesn't glare in, I could take photos until the sunset. But because my room is at the front of the house and the sun is directly shoots in around like 4:30 is when the sun starts to like drop a little bit, I cannot take photos for as long as I would love to. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
gmail.com if you guys want to reach out and ask for any advice. We would love it. Please don't reach out and tell me that you need me to Venmo you or anything like that. Is that happening? It's
happening to me too.
I don't know when it started, but all of a sudden I'm getting 50,000. It was like all my friends were little like Molly crackies, and we all had glitter on our faces and fucking played with little raves gloves.
Such a big capri girl. So excited to be wearing them in the summer. I love like a baggy capri. So cute. Kind of like giving jorts, you know, like what we've been wearing, but I feel like it's a more feminine version. So some of the most common question that I was getting about traveling home from Latvia was with Jax, with my new puppy. He was incredible. He was amazing. He was literally amazing. We had a layover in Germany, so it was like a 15-hour flight, and he's a puppy. Like I was so nervous about traveling with him because he is so small and he's a baby. Like he's literally a baby. Like he's gonna shit in his cage. Like I was so convinced like he's gonna shit in the cage. The whole entire plane is gonna smell for 8 hours and it's gonna be all my fault. But he was literally perfect. So I don't personally book my flights. Like my boyfriend's team pays for everything. So we had to tell them to book for having a puppy, and they had to book on 2 different airlines, which is Air Baltic, which accepts pets, and also Condor, which accepts pets. So the Condor flight was from Germany to Toronto. Air Baltic was from Riga and to Germany. Did so well under the plane. He did not make a peep. I just kind of like stuck my hand in there for a majority of the flight, especially the first flight. He was a little bit like, what the what is going on here? Even going through security, like you have to take him out and bring him with you. And like those of you guys who have ever had to travel with a pet or put a pet into one of those carriers, Jax did not want to be in there. Louis, when I traveled with him to Florida, he did not want to be in his carrier. Like it was so stressful. With Louis was way worse than Jackson. Louis is so well behaved because once I took Louis out for the security, he did not want to go back in there. They're super cute too. They're dollhouse.
$200 cream to strengthen my skin for smoother, brighter results. Your best.
Dude, honestly though, that is hilarious. Babe, tell me the story. My name is Gavin, I'm 22. So about 2 years ago I matched with this guy emoji on Snapchat, did not move for months. I really thought he was dead. This site had comments from his mom. He committed hard as fuck. Yeah, the Bitmoji. You know, moving around. I call them and they're like, I need you to talk to the doctor. I go,
Literally obsessed. Look how cute. So Jax was an absolute angel. He literally just slept the whole entire second flight. He held his pee until we went to Germany. You don't have a dog. This is probably so gross to you, but like he held his pee until we went to Germany. He went on the mat, which I don't train him with the mat, and he literally went on the mat in the airport. I was like, you are an angel. Thank you so much. And then he held his number 2 until we literally got to Toronto. He had to go through like an inspection of his own. And we just had so many little detours. Like even when we got back to Germany, Germany is like the worst place to have a connecting flight. Like if you ever travel to Europe and you have a connecting flight to Germany, there's just so many extra things and they have the most security. They made us re-go through security again, which they didn't last time, but like I guess they're on like high alert again. I have been and I've done all of that with Germany. It is like, this is my 3rd time going through Germany from Riga. And it's always just such high security. And when I go to like through like Amsterdam or no where else I went through, but other countries, they never have such high security where you have to do everything all over again. So that is definitely something to take into consideration, because if you have like a close connecting flight, you might miss it because they literally take so long to do everything. Going through customs, like they literally are so detail oriented. Like they're always checking people. They're always asking like super long detailed questions and answers and stuff. I personally get through pretty easily. I feel like if you're on your way home, it's not as bad, but like if you're going there, always so many questions. What reason? Well, I guess for safety, but like it's just like, it's so annoying. Jax was incredible. He was so good and I'm so proud of him. But I definitely was nervous traveling with a pet. I've never traveled so many hours with a pet. It's so long, but they didn't, even the airplane, they did have like a weight limit, which was 8 kilograms, and like the bag has to like fit under the seat. But other than that, they did not ask a single question. Like they did not care at all, to be honest. They were like, sure, if he fits in that, if he fits under your seat, you're comfortable, sure, go for it. Obviously you can't bring like a massive dog on the plane, but like if he fits in his cage, it seems like they didn't even like need to ask a question, and everybody was just like, oh. It was an interesting yet very positive experience. Now that is probably not how a lot of people's experience goes with a pet, and if you traveled with a pet, I'm sure it is definitely stressful. It's like having a toddler, I'm not gonna lie, like, except I feel like it's worse because you have to like try to shove them into like this carrier, and they're just like, I don't want to be in here, mom, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
So good.
like
That
what
was
is
fun.
anybody ever gonna come out with that's like, I'm
More
gonna be
embarrassing.
humiliated by?
You're
I'm
right.
like, it just like, as you go on
So
for hours
basically,
and hours.
I've come to the conclusion, since all I do is talk on YouTube too, is like, we get paid. Yeah.
I know, and then professional, and then
Some of the other questions that I was getting in regards to living in Latvia was about the people and the culture and the people who live there. I would say they aren't the friendliest of people. I met up with Lodo and she was amazing, but her mom is Canadian, so I feel like that's a little bit of a loophole. But as for like the actual people living there, and this goes for a lot of people living in Lithuania and Latvia and like the Baltic, they're just kind of a little bit grumpier. That's just their nature. They just don't trust easily. And when I have to come home, so I like always going back and forth between living in North America and living in like the Baltic. So every time I go to the Baltics, like for the first few weeks there, I'm like smiling at people, and like people are looking at me like, what the fuck is this girl staring at me and looking and smiling at me? That is a criminal offense. And then I come back here and people are smiling at me, and I'm like, I don't I have to like change back into like my nice mode, and then I have to change it. And like, I think that people respect you much more in the Baltics when you kind of push them around as much as they're pushing you around. People do not hold the door and say thank you. People do not hold the door. People do not say thank you. People, they do not make a noise. Like, they will not say anything to you. And if you just give that same energy back, it's almost like they'll respect you 10 times more. Rather than when you're just being like overly nice, they're like, why is this woman being nice to me? I kind of use to my advantage my English, because they are in their own little world. So when you're in the thrift, in a store, in a grocery store, anything like that, and you're trying to get past somebody, I literally just strong tone be like, excuse me, and people would move. But if you just like let them walk all over you and do what they want to do, they're not moving, they're not holding the door for you, they're not doing anything. And then you come back here, and then the first day I walked into the gym here, and everybody's like, hi, like smiling, like we do like the smile, like blah blah blah. I'm like, I am so out of my element again. Like, this is so weird. Like, I actually have to like look at people and smile at people again, and I'm just like, okay, so I need to like get back into that. So, you know, the people aren't the nicest, and honestly, there are nice people, it's just the latter. Like, there's just, you have to like actually get to know the person for the person to be nice to you, I guess. A better way to put it. But not like, they're not going to be friendly when it comes to like if you're just a stranger to them, which there are pluses and minuses of that. Okay, you don't even have to look at somebody when you're walking past them. You don't have to smile, you don't have to say hi, you don't, like, you can be in your own little world. Where here, like, you have to say hi, you have to like wave at people, and like if you don't do that, you're just like an asshole. You hold the door for people. Like, one time my boyfriend was like, she didn't even hold the door for me, and I was like, yeah, like, they don't do that. They do not do that stuff here. The people, it's like, it's not bad, but the environment in general, it's a super safe environment, and I feel so safe as a woman traveling there. I love the Baltic states. They're so safe. I've never had a bad incident. However, the funniest thing did happen. So we did have neighbors, and the one neighbor, so basically we had a Tesla. We didn't have a parking spot technically, but the road is a public road. Like, anybody can park on the road. But the thing is that these old men, like the Latvian like old men, they just like struggle with their emotions and their feelings. I know just in general, men struggle with emotions and feelings. It is so different in Latvia. And you know what? These men probably been through a lot, like war. There's a lot going on over there. Like, they don't trust people. But basically, we were parked outside of his house. Like, the man likes to back into his driveway. He doesn't need to back into his driveway, but he likes to back into her driveway. There are always cars lined up, parked there, because there's apartments and there's lots of places and stuff like that, and people living on the street. There's also construction, so there's a lot of like workers always parked there. So basically what happened was, he had asked us, like, we were parked there, and he said, can you not park your car there? And we're like, okay, but like, it's a public street, and like, if every other spot's like taken, like, we're gonna park there or whatever. But we tried our best not to. One day I was doing my Depop box and my wholesale boxes, and I was like, okay, I'll just park the car here really quickly while I go inside, gather my like shipping sheets and everything. And around this time, it was like 5 p.m. Okay, so he's probably coming home from work, probably the worst time to do it. He had a freak out, kicking the car. Like, he kicked the car like 20 times, yelling at the car, like, and my boyfriend was on his way to practice at this time, and he was like, oh my god, oh my god. I'm so happy we didn't miss it though. But that was like, I was like leaving 2 weeks after that, so I was like, thank god I don't have to deal with it. It was like the only kind of funny bad interaction, I guess you could say, that I had. But honestly, it was hilarious. Like, I'm glad that we didn't miss it. These bolero things sell, and honestly, I get it. I have so many in my wardrobe. I love them, and they just like complete an outfit. Like, look how much better this look looks now. It's such a good like transitional season outfit. I just need like a little necky. I'm starting to dig into some of the Europe stuff, and I just found this belt, and I feel like this would look so cute with this look, and I think that we're gonna do it. So cute. Another question was about the food. The food it's much better in Riga than it would be anywhere else in Latvia, if we're gonna be completely honest. Like, when I was in Daugavpils, which is another city in Latvia, the food sucked. Like, it was not good. But if you go to some place that is a bigger city, you're definitely going to find better food, which makes sense. Riga is the capital, it's the biggest city. I mean, Latvia itself is small, so you don't need to really go anywhere else. But they had some really good restaurants. We went to this really good one called Steaks on one of my last night. It was Valentine's Day. My boyfriend took me and it was so good. So I think that they do have some good food. You just kind of have to search a little bit, and also don't try any Mexican food. That is my little advice. They cannot get the Mexican food right. Another question that I was getting is, what is better, the thrifting in Latvia or the thrifting in Lithuania? I'm actually gonna say Lithuania. I'm gonna say Lithuania. The only reason that I'm gonna say Lithuania is because the shoes. I was there for like 3 months in Latvia and I found like a singular pair of good shoes at the thrift, which is insane. But I don't really know why. Maybe it's like, even at the Humana Vintage, like when I was at the Humana Vintage in Lithuania, they had so many good shoes. I think it's just kind of like maybe because Latvia is a poor country and the people like wear their shoes out a little bit more, but they just didn't have any good pairs of shoes. I finally found one good pair of shoes, which were like these Buffalo London wedge sneakers that I was excited about. But like, even like I didn't find any cute like kitten heels or anything like that, which was kind of shocking. So I would say Lithuania actually had better thrifting, but very similar brands. And don't get me wrong, like the thrifting in Latvia was insane, like you guys saw the videos. But you truly cannot beat the like €1 and €2 days at Humana Vintage. Like, it's a huge curated vintage store and everything is €1 and €2.
Close your phone. You know, there's levels of cyberbullying and everything. I will say I take it to heart like crazy. I'm like, oh my god, I no, it's hard.
Today I bring you a very special episode. I gotta work on my English. Culturally, a wonder, and he's wonderful. He's gonna be in the studio. He's on his way now, with his lovely has been considerably better than, like, let's say Jay Shetty with like brown eyes, normal.
Those outfits where you're just like, ugh, freak off. Like, you're literally so cute. My floor is literally breaking, okay? Destroyed my floor. These shoes, and yes, it is a DIY wooden floor, okay? I just got some like 4x4 feet by 4 feet blocks from Lowe's, and I put it on the ground here to make my little Depop space, okay? Because there's carpet over it. It works for me and it was super cheap, and I haven't changed it because it's been here for like 2 years now. 2.5 years, and the only thing that there's just a couple holes for my heels in this one board right here that is like lifted a little bit. If you need a bit of an idea, this is like a little cheap DIY how I made my Depop space. This is all DIY. This is all me. Thrifted stuff, Dollarama, thrifted mirror. I don't even know what that is, but I found it in the garage. I am obsessed with her. I would love to talk to you guys about my travels for as long as possible, but it's time to get a little serious about a topic, and that is the thrift addiction that we all have. I personally have been victimized by the thrift addiction, and it's a serious thing. I'm not gonna lie, it actually is kind of serious. And what I really noticed is, I think a lot of it started to stem from TikTok. Like, everybody wants to go film these hauls every day and like and I don't necessarily think it's healthy. I promise you, you have stuff at home to list, you have stuff at home to do. My anxiety went away as soon as I stopped trying to go to the thrift store every day. When I was in Latvia the last few weeks, I really was thrifting a lot. But I've been home now for the last week and I have not even went to Valley Village. And for me, at this point in my life, I need to get serious. Like, I needed to get a little bit more serious when it came to my business and look at it more as a business than a hobby. I love thrifting. We can all admit that the best part about our jobs, and I know a lot of you guys do reselling, is the thrifting part. I would love to be the one that, like, I love listing, but that is the least favorite thing. I love shipping. No, I got rid of that job, okay? My mother does that. I pay her. She does that. Can't do that. Don't like it. Not creative. The picture taking I actually liked because it's like fun for me to like put together outfits. I love that I have my space now. It doesn't frustrate me. It took me a while to find a spot that wouldn't frustrate me. There was a time in my life where I was constantly changing the backdrop downstairs. I had artificial lighting. The lighting wouldn't be right some days, or like it would bother me some days, and it was stressful, and then I would be like, you know what, F this, I'm going shopping. The one good thing about artificial lighting is that you can kind of like, I would take photos until like 2 in the morning in my early years when I didn't go to bed at 9 at night. But now my immune system could not handle that. And I love natural lighting. I think that your stuff will sell 10 times better. If you do try-ons and you do natural lighting, that's also the way to get onto the Depop Explore page, is having like a good natural lit photo. When things were less competitive, it was easier to do certain things, but now everybody resells. Find that it definitely is tougher to get onto the Explore page, and having good light, your items better and they're definitely more likely to buy them. So that was kind of my thrift tip of the day, or my reselling tip of the day, is natural lighting. I think I've probably mentioned it a lot of times about reselling, but when I did flat lays at the beginning, I didn't do natural light. It was like 10 times harder to sell, or like not 10 times harder, but like your stuff wouldn't sell. And now reselling became so big because of COVID, and it is really good considering that people are able to live their life and also have a job that you don't work for someone else. Like, we don't have set hours. There's so much that goes into reselling that people do not understand, and maybe we can get into that at one point in time. But today I really want to talk about thrift addiction, the thrift addiction phenomenon that I have been witnessing, and I think it is not good. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to sell this gorgeous dress. It's made in Paris too. I think I have to keep her. It's so cute, but it needs a good steam first. So I'm gonna do that before I take any photos in it. There are a few things that you can do that will literally just kill your business, your reselling business, right off the bat. I have single-handedly done all of this stuff and almost single-handedly killed my business multiple times. Number one, now if you own a store and you actually have a brick and mortar store, you actually kind of have, obviously you have more overhead and you have more cost, but you kind of have a little bit of an advantage compared to people sell online. I think there's pros and cons to both, obviously. The one thing that is going to like make a big difference in your reselling and in making sales is doing things with reason. Doing things with reason. So when you go to the thrift store, you are going to film today, but you cannot go to the thrift store every day, film every day, not take any photos throughout the week. Spend, like, especially if you're going to Value Village and you're stocking up on some stuff, like that comes like a pretty hefty price tag, and then the week is done and all you've done is shop. There has to be balance, and this is where I got myself in trouble, whereas I was like, okay, I need to just film every day and then I could take photos at night, but then I wasn't leaving any area for when I actually wanted to list the item. If you can tell, that's my least favorite thing to do, is list the item. So I will take the photo of things. I'm very good at taking photos. I'm very good at having a bunch of photos ready to go, preparation, but when it comes to actually sitting down and doing the actual listing of the item, I have to do it all at night. And that's where I really had to reevaluate my schedule, because I was thrifting all day and then I was taking photos downstairs, and then I was not having any time to list anything, and then I was editing videos, and then I was doing this and I was doing that, and then I had social life, and I really had to sit my ass down and be like, if you're going to go film a video, you're going to go film a video, but you're doing it once a week. You're doing it twice a week maybe. The word I was looking for is intention. We're doing things with intention in 2024. So for so long, I was just like, I wasn't taking things seriously. And when I started my wholesale business, I really started to realize that there's something actually good here, more so than just like something that's fun, hobby. And yes, I've been reselling for so long. Yes, it is my full-time job, but I always kind of looked at it as like a job that's also a hobby, that's also fun, something that necessarily, yes, it's not a 9 to 5, yes, it's not market, like I'm not like, it can blossom into such a business if you start to treat it as one. And when I started to treat it as one, it actually started to blossom into a business. So when I started to do my wholesale, I realized that I cannot be thrifting every day, especially without intention, especially just to grab a coffee and walk around the thrift store. And yes, I did do that in Latvia because I had intention for it, in a sense of I worked for 3 months before I left to prep for the 3 months that I kind of took off, and I didn't do a lot of thrifting in those 3 months. I literally worked my ass off in preparation, and now I'm back home trying to do things with intention, plan my schedule out. I'm taking Depop photos at least for an hour every single day and listing late at night. So wherever I can fit into my schedule a video, a TikTok, that's where it's gonna fit in. And I know for the most part, a lot of time, the TikToks and the videos will stem making sales for sure. But the times that I'm going to the thrift store, just grabbing my coffee to enjoy myself, every once in a while, that is fine. But the fact that I was doing that every day or every other day, and even the times that I was filming myself, like for a vlog or for a TikTok, I was spending way too much time there and I wasn't being proactive, productive, and I didn't have intent with what I was doing. And sometimes you really have to sit down with yourself and get serious. A moment for the dress. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Having intention means you have to do one of two things. If you're going to spend all your time at the thrift store thrifting, you have to make sure you're not spending X amount of money on the things that you're thrifting. You have to save in other ways. Going to Value Village every day to try to resell is going to burn your business to the ground. It is simply going to burn your business to the ground because not only are you searching for certain things, you're also searching for specific prices that you can transition into. Trying to buy from Value Village, you might as well start buying wholesale. And if that's not for me, then that is from, there's lots of wholesalers around overseas, like European wholesalers. If you're going to spend that much money on price per item is what I'm trying to get at, better be using your other time wise in listing. If you're spending, you almost need two of yourself. If you are spending that much time and spending this much money on items, you have to have another person doing your listings for you almost, because you can't do both. Because if you're just spending so much money, you're not going to have time to do listing, then you're just going to eat your business alive. That's where I almost started to get in trouble until I had to literally sit down with myself. And this is when Value Village really started to raise their prices. And I was like, if I continue this, like I will have to not do this anymore. And that's where I had to outsource and figure something else out, where the bins came into play. This is then where what stemmed me starting my wholesale business. Part of it was when I was in Europe, my boyfriend is really lucky because I'm like a chameleon in a sense of like, I have to figure out what I'm gonna do when I'm over there. What content am I gonna shoot? How am I gonna shoot it? How am I gonna resell? How am I gonna do, like, I have to kind of figure this stuff out every time we move to a new place. He gets it, but he doesn't get it, you know? Like, people don't get it. They think my job is so easy because of what I do, but at the end of the day, it's me trying to kind of tit for tat figure certain details out every single place that I go. Yes, I'm so lucky, but I'm also always trying to figure certain things out. I feel like you need to see the skirt up close. So, and that's what I was kind of saying about the brick and mortar girlies having a little bit of an advantage in a sense of like, they can go thrift all day and then just put it out on the racks the next day, especially if they have heavy traffic, an employee, and they're sourcing all day. When us girlies are just listing online, we really have to hone in on what we're spending our time on, and just kind of committing to the bit of one thing, not smart in your business. And that's what almost tanked me, is because I was just thrifting every day. I was like, yep, this is my job. This is my job. I'm going to go to the thrift store. I'm gonna grab my little coffee. And then your girl was like kind of slowly listing things on Depop and being slow with it, and it was like, oh, I spent that much money and I made that much money, which is about the same, because the math is just not mathing. I guess I just can't go to the thrift store every day. I guess that isn't my job. And even though I was filming myself, we don't make money on TikTok, and you know, YouTube like is decent money, but like I'm not posting a video every day of me thrifting on YouTube. So that's where you really gotta hone in and be like, you know what, let's get a little serious here, Melissa, unless you want to start working at the bank again. I love the outfit, but I have to show this gorgeous skirt off somehow. In retrospect, it wasn't necessarily my fault, because that was just the equation and the calculation that I was used to. But when Value Village like literally tripled their prices, I didn't calculate it until afterwards, until a few months, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, I'm almost losing money. The Depop fee and the PayPal fee and the prices at Value Village, and I hadn't raised my prices at the point. I was still keeping my same old price point. I really had to like think a little and kind of be like, hey, I need to start sourcing elsewhere. Either I need to start buying wholesale so I can spend all my days listing and taking photos, or I need to find a spot where I'm able to get for cheaper so that I don't have to crazy raise my prices. My prices vary a lot because it depends. If I got something from Value Village, I have to up price it X amount. If I got something from Europe, it cost me $180 just to ship the package itself, plus the conversion rate, plus the fees, plus everything like that. It's incredible different stuff. So I really had to just like think a little. Like, it's like I was back in school, I was back in class, and I really had to take, and I know it sounds not complicated, but when you're used to an equation working for you for 5-6 years, and then it stops suddenly working, you're like, okay, I need to rethink. And that's where the bins came in play for me. I think that I will also put these up because I've been hoarding them. They are leather and they're like cowhide. I got them in Edmonton last year, and when I just put them on to do some styling, like even with this outfit, so cute. Don't mind these shoes. I just wear shoes because my feet start to hurt sometimes. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Strawberry milk mob. She is, I mean, you might have seen her on TikTok, but she's a marketing genius, okay? She is just like a regular girl on TikTok who at first she started like a bikini company like years in advance, and like she wasn't like selling any bikinis or like very little bikinis or whatever, but she really wanted to start this brand. And at first her TikTok, she was just like marketing the bikinis and she wasn't getting any sales. She wasn't getting any sales. People weren't like gravitating to her company or anything like that. And then she just started making these videos about boys and reasons 365 of why I love men, and just like showing her personality, and her bikini brand took off. Employed both her sisters. She has like this huge bikini brand. Like she probably sells like thousands of dollars monthly, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. She had like a pop-up shop like the Vancouver Mall in Canada, which is like a huge thing. And all because she started being likable. Instead of like pushing things in people's faces, being like, hey, like buy this, hey, buy this. And that is simply why I really stopped promoting my Depop as much, and I feel like the sales got better in a sense. Like I stopped posting on Instagram every time I dropped, or I stopped, you know, like pushing it in like people's faces. Like I'm really not trying to be that person that is like, hey, buy from my Depop. Yeah, it's been a lot of the reason is because because of the wholesale, because I have very, very little on Depop now, to the point where people are like, hello, when are you dropping on Depop? Like I'm constantly getting messages. I actually sell more when people just see things in my videos. They'll message me on Instagram and then I'll sell it through Instagram instead. And I did get a little lazy when it comes to Depop, especially the last like few months, or especially when I started doing wholesale. Also, some of my clients, like some of my wholesale clients, will see things on my Depop and be like, hey, can I snag this, can I snag that? And I used to have about 500 items listed up on there, and now I have like 100 and something. Like I definitely want to get back into it. Best thing that she did for her brand was just become likable. That is the best thing that she could have done, and her brand took off just because she started making these silly little videos that literally had nothing to do with her bikini brand. And now her brand actually took off so much more, and I feel like I've learned so much from that marketing tactic. And especially because nowadays like things are so much harder to sell, it's either like you have to be likable as a person, really show your personality off to sell your stuff, or you have to go ghost mode and almost just only have the brand, like only have the brand and hire outward, like hire celebrities or like influencers to promote your brand and be like behind the face of the brand. I think that's kind of like the best way to go about things. Like shoving things in people's feeds and shoving like buy this, it almost seems a little bit more inauthentic. And that's how I started to feel, always post things and I was like, I don't like this. Like I feel like I'm just trying to shove things into people's faces, and like I just want you guys to like my content for my content. And then like if you do want to purchase something, it's because you like me, and like maybe you just come across my Depop just because, and those are like, sometimes that obviously happens as well, probably more than I know. When it comes to like you guys buying things, like I don't want it to feel forced or anything like that. I want you to actually genuinely want to support me in a sense, if that makes sense. Or if you just like something, that's also fine too. But I feel like her tactic was simply so good, and that's like Emma Chamberlain as well. Just likable, so it makes you want to buy her products. Like it makes you want to buy her coffee. I'm still down on like putting on some coats right now. As I said, some are selling, so I feel like if you have coats, put them on, because people are still looking for some coats, especially a good coat like this. Yes. Don't play with me. It's so good. I feel like that might have been a little bit long of a lesson today. We definitely know now enough with it. And if you have self-control about going to the thrift, good on you, because it took me multiples of years. And if you don't, feel so hard on yourself, because honestly it is a lot harder than you think. And it is comparable to like a gambling addiction, okay? The high of finding a good piece, and when I get on a roll and I'm like, okay, I found a good piece today, I want to go to another thrift store, and then the next day I want to go to another thrift store because I found this, and then sometimes if you just don't go for a few days, you start to like relax and calm down, and like that like adrenaline just calms down a little bit. And unfortunately I think I do have an addictive personality, and that is actually how I got to where I am today, because I'm good at being addicted to like work and being addicted to certain things. So there's obviously positives and negatives, but one of the negatives is definitely the fact that I will be addicted to thrifting. So if you are not there, good on you, because I definitely struggled with that for so many years of like, I just want to go thrifting today. I want to go thrifting today. I want to go thrifting today. Camera is definitely about to die. I feel like this has been a long enough lesson for today. I feel like this was a good intro to Depop Talk and what I wanted to actually kind of transition into. If you guys like this episode, let me know. I hope you guys got some work done as watching this, while you're watching this, whether you're cleaning, whether you're doing some listings, whether you're taking Depop photos yourself. I hope that you guys got something done while watching this, you know. And if you're just chilling out and watching, that's okay too. I'll let you have it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
So good.
Like,
That
what
was
is
fun.
anybody ever gonna come out with that's like, I'm
More
gonna be
embarrassing.
humiliated by?
You're
I'm like,
right.